Welcome for a new episode at Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, Ahmed Asaf, and we have an amazing guest today, Mr. Tariq. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Mr. Tariq, if we just start this podcast to let the audience know a little bit about yourself, about your journey, and where could you start and tell us about yourself?
I was born in East Africa quite a while ago.
Mhm.
Originally, my family is from India, Pakistan region, and I grew up in the UK. We came here when I was about 5 or 6 years of age, and this is really where I got educated, where I went into business, where I traveled from, and where I've been building a base for different sets of things I'm doing. And one of them, which I'm very passionate about, is coaching and helping other people in their lives, having a sense of empathy for where they're at because of my journey and what I've been through to get to this point in life. Yeah.
So if you allow me to ask you, what is the main thing that makes you come to this domain, to come to this field?
I think there's a sense of purpose. I think there's a sense of feeling within myself in terms of my identity of who I am, that I'm
Mm.
doing the things that mean the most to me, that are the most important things in essence about myself. And I think we'll touch on this later on in one of the three topics,
Yes,
uh, because it does come up, and that will then kind of explain a bit more about how this mission, if you will, comes about.
amazing. So today we'll be discussing three main topics. That's the health and the positive mindset and how we start a business. I know every topic needs like lots of the explanation and lots of just we'll be going through each one with through practical insights and practical just way of explanation so anyone could just apply it in his daily life. So if we could start with, if we're talking to the audience now, I want you to consider that they would listen to you and they want practical things. They want to, what shall we do? So they need something practical. If we need to talk about the health, which is the main and essential investment in our life, and it's a long-term investment, and it's the number one investment in our life that must be committed, we must be committed to. How would you be your insights to investment in our health?
I think the first thing is that depending upon the region and locale of the world you are in, always speak to your medical professionals and physicians before undertaking any program or any set of things that are prescribed out there. That's the first thing I would say. It is the cornerstone of a fulfilling life.
Mm-hmm.
Maintaining good health is critical and essential to be successful, both mentally and physically. And we understand that more and more. Now, there's a lot of controversy in health at the moment, especially with diet and different programs. And I think a lot of the audience that we talk to will be confused. And if they aren't confused, I'd be surprised because I'm a keto guy, I'm a vegetarian guy, I'm a vegan guy, and nobody wants to meet in between. So, what is that all about? And how should you approach it? um, to maintain that kind of energetic, healthy lifestyle. I really like Dr. Wheel, who's a pioneer in integrative medicine at Scottsdale, Arizona, University of Arizona, because Dr. Wheel has extensively written about achieving optimum health through natural and holistic means. So it's a combination of the two, and it's an integrative medical program that he provides, where physicians and GPs from around the world are coming in to get the best of both worlds in that complementary sense. So he is not in any sense controversial, but he will cover a lot of the complementary therapies. And the key focus Dr. Wheel has is, first of all, he also starts with the mind-body connection, talking about yoga, meditation, or mindfulness to try and reduce stress, to
Mm-hmm.
create an overall sense of well-being. But then he also talks about nutrition. And I think nutrition
If
is
you
then,
could just, sorry for interrupting, here is you're telling about the connection between the health and the body. And as we are living in three different levels of understanding or different planes of understanding, we are spiritual beings, and we have our intellectual mind, and we have our physical body, which is the instrument guided by our mind.
Yep.
So, and they are all interconnected together. So once we are taking care of our health, which is what we see in the physical world, it's affecting directly to our intellectual mind and
Right.
our spiritual thing, right?
Yes. Yes, that's correct. Um, it's one of those areas where it's a virtuous loop, okay? There's
Mm-hmm.
things you can do in nutrition that will
Mm-hmm.
help you physically, intellectually, and spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
There's things you can do in terms of your mind, meditation, mindfulness, yoga, that will also help you in all three domains,
Mm-hmm.
some more than others. And then there's the physical activity. And again, the physical activity is really starting with the physical, but it's actually going all the way through. And a good example of that is yoga. Yoga was actually created by the gurus to create a sense of peace and meditation in people. Okay. So people couldn't meditate. People found it hard to get into that mindfulness space. So yoga was created as a physical set of exercises to
Mm-hmm.
give you that sense of mental meditation and clarity. So they are all linked in that way. So the three of them are, as you pointed out, like nutrition, the
Mm-hmm.
mind-body connection, and physical activity. And so each of those all wrap into the physical, the intellectual, and the spiritual.
If
Yeah.
yes, if we were telling here like physical activity, how do you think we could? We know that we need to make physical exercise every day, but how could we have this commitment to that? Because most of us, okay, we know that this is not a healthy food, but still we are taking it. We know that we should not take this, let's say, piece of cake at the end of the night, but still we're doing it. So
Yeah.
how could we make this commitment and make our subconscious mind somehow convinced? I don't know, but how could we continue in the long run with that attitude?
First of all, human beings can be very hard on themselves, especially a lot of people in our audience. You know, I tried this thing, it didn't work out. I keep trying and I keep failing. But and I see this a lot, especially in people that have very ingrained habits, not necessarily addictive, but ingrained habits. The key there is to be kind to yourself and to keep coming back and to have that sense of persistence. The key isn't completely discipline. The key is more persistence because every time you keep trying is one more time closer to when you'll achieve it. But unfortunately, we just think, I couldn't do it. I wasn't disciplined enough. I got to be more disciplined. No. Then you throw the baby out with the bathwater. Now you're not thinking about what good you did achieve. You don't look at the 4 days you didn't eat chocolate. You look
Mhm.
at the day that you ate the chocolate. But you don't realize that, okay, it was 4 days and then I ate chocolate. Next time it'll be 14 days. Next time it'll be 1 day. But I'm moving in a virtuous upward cycle. And that's the positivity coming in, which we're going to touch on later on.
No, it's-
But that is the key, persistence.
so we'll consider it in 3 points: the health. Number one, the key is the nutrition, whatever you're eating daily. Number two is the mind and the body connection, even with the spirit, spiritual mind body connection. And the third one is the physical daily activity. So from that point, I would extend to another thing, which is you still need this main key, which is your mindset. And here I would love to share this quote from Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich. There is a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere or hope or wish. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. So if we could start, once we are talking about the mindset, how could we Make it simple and explain it in a very simple way. What is the mindset?
It's a very, very powerful way of helping you to create a way of thinking and behaving that is positive, learning, inculcating new knowledge, developing new skills, having humility in your learning. And the best way to describe it is also to describe the opposite of that. So that positive growth mindset that I've just described, the opposite of that is a static, stunted growth where I couldn't do it that time. That's it. I can never do it. You fall into almost a belief system of it can't be done. I can't learn new things. I can't do this new job. I can't move on. I'm not willing to take the effort or the time to relearn things or to change my approach. And how many times do you need to change your approach until you achieve what you need to achieve? And that's the question is, how long do you give a baby time to learn to walk? What do you mean? I'm going to give my baby as much time as it needs to learn to walk. It can crawl and crawl and crawl, but it's going to walk. That's the positive mindset. Positive mindset is when the child looks at a puddle on the road and a grown-up says, I have to, this is a massive puddle. I got dirty, this and that. The kid just wants to jump in. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, it's a puddle. I'm going to enjoy this. So having that approach, that attitude, your attitude determines your altitude. It truly, truly does. And so that positivity, that mindset is infectious. And you talk about belief, and
Yeah.
that's really critical. Okay, but belief breaks up into a couple of things. You want to build that foundation of belief. What's the desires you have? I really want that business. I really need that job. I really need to feel better. That's your desire. We can build your desire with that burning desire. And then you build the belief that you can have it. But the third thing, and this was actually, I wasn't actually going to touch on this, is expectancy. Okay. So it's a very simple exercise anybody that's listening can do. Imagine for 1 minute you want something. And imagine this thing that you want, you hope for it. You know, I
I
hope I
wish.
get that car. I hope I get that car. I wish I could have that t-shirt. Okay. So now for a moment, put that aside. But this time, instead of hoping, I want you to expect. I want you to expect already, your physiology changes, your way of thinking changes. I want you to expect that you will have that car. I want you to expect that I could have that t-shirt. All of a sudden, when our mind thinks about expectancy and doesn't think about, wishy-washy hopes, yeah, now you're moving into a way of thinking that gives you faith. So you've got the desire, the belief in it, and then the expectation. Now you're believing faith in yourself. And that's developed through positive affirmations and visualizations. I can do this. I must do this. And in time immemorial, in every single culture, every single civilization and religion, they've always talked about self-talk and the visual imagery. People think in images. We think, oh, if you were to ask somebody, what do you speak? They'd say, okay, I speak English or I speak German. But what does your mind think in? Your mind takes those words, it decodes them into visual images, and it puts those images into your head. So if I expect I'm going to get that car, if I expect the color of it, the make of it, the model of it, and I build that desire by thinking about it every day, I'm well on my way in terms of desire, belief, and expectation to achieve it. And that's the key in this. So you're constantly reaffirming the positive.
Yeah,
Now you talk about, yeah.
here is the point. Sorry for interrupting. Is I have the desire and I have the faith and have the visualization with through auto suggestion. So I could now define success. That success it's 95% mindset and only 5% strategy. Whatever your strategy, you're in a business, you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is, your strategy. So I could tell to the audience, now you must concentrate because it's 95% of your success. It's mindset. How could we give like a practical action points through those three things, the desire, the faith, and the auto suggestion, so we could apply it in our daily life.
Yeah. So I have what you're really talking about is building that momentum. You're building that momentum in your life. Now, that 5% that you refer to as strategy is the bit where you take action. Okay. Now, when you get that 95% right in place, the actions you take are much, much more improved. Your actions now are moving you in the correct direction. And you have to take massive, massive amounts of action. And it's led me on to something that I actually developed. And I've actually put it up online on my Instagram, which, as you know, conveniently as time would have it, it's okay. So this is the momentum, intention, direction, action loop. It sounds complicated or whatever, but I'll send you a link. But basically, once you've got the desire, the belief, and expectation, what you've said is, I've got an intention, I've got the direction. So you take action, you take massive, massive action. Now, once you take that massive action, you'll get tons of different types of results. This is critical because when you get lots of different types of results, you can gauge, oh, this works for me, that didn't work for me, whatever. Now you go back into the loop. So I don't know if you can see this, but I'll send this as a link on the show notes. But
Okay.
basically, this is the momentum loop, and
Mm.
that'll take you through this virtuous cycle. And so then you're looping back and you're creating something where yeah, did it work? Didn't it work? What did work?
Yeah, but
Bang.
this loop starts with the thinking, with the thoughts, with the reasoning. So that's
Correct.
the necessity of having the right mindset from the beginning, because the seed starts with from that point. That's where you plant that seed. And the
Absolutely.
result, yeah, and the result will be in the action. So if you could tell in action points, let's start with, okay, I want to achieve something. What is the would be the first thing? How could I leverage my mindset to achieve my goal?
Write down your goals and desires in detail.
Number one.
Number one. Okay. Number two, make sure you've got positive affirmations that you say to yourself every day to build that confidence and faith in your abilities. You
Mhm.
know, I can do this. I am learning. I am on my path. I am okay. I am safe. This is moving in the right direction. I must persist and keep going. Whatever affirmations you're comfortable with. God's delays are not God's denials. Really great affirmation I also use is all I can and I will. I like myself. I am responsible. You find so many of these positive affirmations. So you've got set your clear goals. You're practicing these positive affirmations, okay? And then you're visualizing success. Now we're back to the visual component. You visualize that actual car, the color, the make, driving it, actually sitting in it, smelling the vegan leather, or and also see yourself outside of it. Somebody saying, waving to you, and you're waving back. And so you're seeing this imagery. Now all of a sudden you're giving yourself positive reinforcement on how to think, how to behave, and how to believe. And now you've set a target in your mind. Okay, this is akin to if you were to fly a plane from London to New York. It's never correctly on the same direction. It's always going off course. So your brain has these goals that are set now. So it knows, okay, get back on course. The wind blows it off course from London. You get back on course to London, New York, and you keep going till you hit your target. So you're constantly off course until you hit it. And so again, that's the way to view this. So clear goals, positive affirmations, and then visualize what success means to you, what it would look like, how would it feel. And one of the secrets of this in prayer and du'as and things like this that people don't realize that ancient cultures had was it wasn't a wishy-washy thing. They didn't say, "Oh, please provide this thing for me." The American Indians would actually pray and actually imagine the raindrops falling on them. Imagine what it felt like. So this is the visualization process of what you need to do. Yes.
I really love those action points. I would love to add one thing. This is the repetition. So if you're having this deep desire and your deep why I want to do and why I want to achieve my goal, you have to fall in love with repetition and daily thinking of your goal and thinking as if you achieve that goal and not thinking towards your goal, thinking as you visualizing you achieve that point. So really, really, that's really amazing. If we could expand a little bit more, and here maybe some of our audience would love to have his own business. Maybe he's in the corporate world, and everyone dreams to have his own business, but there's nothing right or wrong in that. Some people get to achieve their financial freedom maybe in an corporate world, and some of them they see themselves in the business or in their entrepreneurship. So, what is your insights in that topic?
I've been in business now for 40 years, and I've read a lot, gone to a lot of courses, and I've had some mentors. And for me, one of the most striking things about business is making sure that you're really clear on the why. It sounds cliched, but what is the big why? There's a purpose-driven reason behind businesses. There's a great set of books by Paul Hawken. Paul
Mhm.
Hawken was a very successful American entrepreneur. He's now more into philanthropy and environmental work. But Hawken has a book about starting a business, and he gives really invaluable insights on creating successful enterprises. And the most important thing is this purpose-driven business. A business in its essence that's organic or naturally about who you are is the one that will be the most successful, because whether you were to make money or not in it, you're going to do it anyway. Because you can look at this many ways. One of the things, I think it was Tim Ferriss says in 4 Hour Work Week, he couldn't figure out what business to do even in the beginning. So what Tim did was he looked at his credit card statements, and he saw that 80% of everything he purchased and was involved in was nutrition. And he goes, well, that's a no-brainer. And so he started making nutritional supplements. It's all about, what he's into, and what he's in. And so once you get that purpose in your life and it aligns with your values and your passions, that guides your decisions. And that'll motivate you because the challenges are going to come. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really, really tough. So why not do it in something that you're going to do anyway and that you love and that you're passionate about? So this was the thing.
Amazing. So, let's say someone is in the corporate world and he's not happy with what he's doing, and he's looking for his why, let's say. So, how could we just help him? And because everyone in this life, there's two important days for him in his life: the day when he was born, and the day when he knows why I'm born. So how could a person knows what do he really want?
People have different ways of figuring things out for what they want. Now, it may be that some people can write down their thoughts and ideas. Some people need to go on, even like do some careers questionnaires, do the DISC personality questionnaire. We can give show notes with all of these things. Go on a voyage of discovery. Whatever that voyage of discovery is for you is fine. Just start it. The first step, you know, is the most important. And then through that, find, do I like that? Don't I like that? Let's do some questionnaires. Let's read some books on this subject. Let me meet some people in the coffee industry. Let me go meet some people in the IT industry. Let me see how these things work. And through that process, right, you'll go through the discovery. That discovery is critical for determining, even check your credit card statement. What do you buy? What do you shop? What do you like? What don't you like? You have to understand yourself better. The better you understand yourself better, the more you'll be able to make a decision based on what's right for you to do at that moment. So it's the personal discovery of yourself that determines the business. It's not, people look at businesses and say, well, okay, this person's doing this thing, it's making a lot of money, let me go do that
Yes,
thing.
that's
But that may not be the thing for you. And it may just be that that really resonates with that person. They love it. And so that's why they do it. Find your why. And the thing I would say to that person in that career, sometimes they're in a rut, they're stuck, they don't know what to do. You're in transition. This frustration you're feeling is good. This frustration will lead to a breakthrough. Once you're on the other side of that frustration, you will get an opening. It happens. It's just the nature of it. So keep learning, keep trying different things, keep discovering, do different personality tests, career tests, business tests, meet people, go out, on your journey. And through that process, figure out what your why might be. It might be as simple as looking on a credit card, might be more complicated for you. Everybody has a different story. What's your story? Why do what you do? And ask yourself those compelling questions. What do I love? What am I interested in? What, if you were to say, it's like this thing about compelling questions, and I think compelling questions are great. Compelling questions are actually a very intelligent, clever way of thinking better. You know, it's like Tony Robbins always says, if you ask your brain, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Why is that happening? Your brain will turn around eventually and say, hey, because you're a turkey. It's like, to ask yourself, what can I do to be who I want? What business would I love? What would get me up in the morning excited that I would love to do? If you keep asking those compelling questions, in the end, the universe will open up and it will just give you the answers and you'll get that opening. And then you've got your purpose and you've got your definition of what you want to do.
So then you'll take my decision and I will go take the action. Really an amazing interview there today. So if we would like to close, let us close with like 3 questions, impactful questions that would make the audience just think deeper. What should they do? What's next?
Yeah. Uh, Ask yourself questions for yourself. Ask yourself, from what you've heard today, what does success in your health look like? What does a successful positive mindset for you look like? What does potentially a successful business or journey look like for you? And I think asking those questions are the key. In the show notes, we can put down the action points and the nuggets of practical things. But I think before that, your question is really pertinent, Ahmed. What is it that I want from this?
Amazing.
Now they're developing a mindset of thinking it through. And then when they look at things, they'll be able to filter and pick, it's like if you buy something and then all of a sudden you look around and you see it everywhere. But before you bought it, you didn't see it. It didn't, you buy a red car, you never see red cars. All of a sudden you're seeing red cars everywhere. The brain works like that. It just finds patterns. So if you ask your brain the right questions, it'll start giving you answers, and then the patterns for what you need to do will appear. And then the action points in the show notes will make sense for you and for your journey.
Amazing. Just so look for your purpose and look for your deep why. And I will close with asking, what are you doing? What are you going to do differently than yesterday? So every day, look for learning and doing and improving. Thank you, Tariq, and wish you all the success. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Emma. Nice to speak to you.
Thank you.